When it comes to sourcing products, many sellers immediately consider international suppliers. Yet, in certain circumstances, choosing to source locally within the United States can prove to be a highly strategic move. For example, if your priorities include quicker turnaround times, reduced shipping costs, or simply the security of having a dependable backup in case your primary supplier encounters logistical obstacles, turning to domestic suppliers can provide a major advantage. I have personally experienced situations where this choice made a meaningful impact. In this lesson, I will guide you through how to approach it. Together, we will explore how to identify suppliers within the United States and carefully weigh the main benefits and drawbacks of selecting a domestic partner. To begin, let us focus on the reasons you might decide to source products within the United States instead of relying solely on overseas suppliers, particularly those based in China. Imagine ordering products from across the world, where shipping alone can take several weeks. Now compare that with buying from a supplier located just a few states away. Even if production times in China are competitive, the true strength of sourcing within the United States lies in faster shipping and shorter lead times. Think of it like this. Ordering from a local supplier can feel similar to buying something from a nearby store instead of waiting for an overseas delivery. Shipping distances are shorter. This not only lowers costs, but also avoids the uncertainty of long journeys at sea or by air. Delivery timelines improve further because domestic shipments do not require customs clearance, cutting out days or even weeks of waiting. On top of that, depending on where the products originate, you may also avoid paying costly import duties. Another significant benefit lies in communication. Working in the same or similar time zones allows for faster responses. And with English as the standard language, discussions become clearer and less prone to errors. This is particularly valuable when you need to negotiate changes in product design or specifications. In addition, being able to promote an item as made in the USA can improve its appeal in the marketplace. Even though Chinese manufacturing quality has advanced greatly over the years, many consumers still connect American-made products with superior standards. Of course, there are also challenges that come with sourcing domestically. The most evident drawback is cost. Labor in the United States is more expensive, which directly raises overall manufacturing expenses. In addition, local manufacturers often set higher minimum order quantities, also known as MOQs. This can make sourcing within the United States a better option for businesses that have already grown and can handle larger order volumes, rather than those at the very beginning stages. Ultimately, deciding whether to source locally or internationally depends on your unique situation. If you are facing problems with overseas suppliers, or you want to protect your business from unexpected disruptions, exploring domestic alternatives can be a smart strategy. Always take the time to compare the complete costs involved. And remember, long-term success in business comes from delivering maximum value to your customers at the lowest sustainable expense. Once you are clear on the pros and cons, the next step is discovering where to find suppliers in the United States. To find the right manufacturer for your product, the very first step is research. Before reaching out to any manufacturer, you need to do thorough research. Unlike Alibaba, there is no single platform that gathers all domestic manufacturers in one place, which means you will need to look across several resources. One reliable method is using online directories such as ThomasNet, Makers Row, MFG, and Compass. These directories often include hundreds or even thousands of manufacturers and supplier listings. For me, one of the most useful starting points was ThomasNet. This platform is free to use and specializes in industrial and commercial products, although it does not always feature consumer-focused items. You could also try Wholesale Central, which works in a way that is somewhat similar to Alibaba but tailored to the US market. It is free and allows you to search for specific products, providing a list of suppliers. Wholesale Central additionally shares information about trade shows. Attending trade shows is an excellent opportunity to meet suppliers in person. Trade shows are usually centered on particular industries, such as home goods, boating, or other specialized categories. Based on the products you sell, you can find shows in your area or attend larger national or international exhibitions. Another valuable resource is Makers Row. Unlike the other sites, Makers Row offers a complete solution that includes product development, design, and large-scale manufacturing. This service is subscription-based, with pricing that begins at approximately $599 each month for the Select plan. However, they do provide a free 5-day trial, which allows you to explore the platform and evaluate its features before making any financial commitment. If trade shows interest you, remember that every industry organizes these events. Now that in-person trade shows are back in full swing, they provide excellent opportunities to meet manufacturers face-to-face and build strong relationships. If you cannot attend in person, You can still use the exhibitor lists published for each event to connect with suppliers online. For example, the Canton Fair Autumn 2025 will be held in 3 phases between October 15th and November 4th in Guangzhou. If none of these options meet your requirements, you can always fall back on a simple Google search. By typing in the name of your product along with terms such as manufacturer, supplier, or wholesaler, you can often uncover additional sources that might fit your needs. And if you prefer international sourcing, platforms such as Global Sources, IndiaMart, DHgate, and Sourcify are always available. Once you begin contacting manufacturers, there are 2 approaches you can use. The first is being transparent and introducing yourself as a small business owner. This can sometimes bring helpful mentorship, but it may also place you at a disadvantage in negotiations. The second approach is to present yourself as part of a larger company, such as a purchasing manager or operations lead. This approach gives a sense of scale and professionalism, which strengthens your negotiating power. You can even use phrases like, "My boss did not approve these numbers," to keep the discussion professional rather than personal. I also recommend working with at least 2 manufacturers. Having a backup ensures you are not fully dependent on one partner. If your international supplier faces delays, a local supplier can act as a safety net. Local sources may be more expensive, but they provide security and leverage. Just make sure they are true manufacturers and not outsourcing the production elsewhere. After narrowing your list of manufacturers, the next step is to request at least 3 quotes. When you reach out, ask 9 key questions. First, can they meet your custom requirements and exact specifications? Second, what is their minimum order quantity, often called MOQ? These can range from 1,000 to 20,000 units. Negotiate carefully and avoid asking this question too early, as it may signal inexperience. Third, what are their lead times for production and shipping? Fourth, what are their shipping costs? Suppliers located closer to ports in China often have lower rates. Fifth, what is the cost per unit? Remember to negotiate this together with the MOQ because larger orders usually reduce per unit prices. Sixth, can they provide exclusivity? If you are paying for tooling, confirm that the equipment you funded will not be used for anyone else's products. Discuss different forms of exclusivity, such as territory or market rights, and clarify who owns the molds. Seventh, ask about setup fees, which are common in processes like injection molding. Eighth, ask about their defect policy so you know who covers replacements and shipping costs if problems arise. Ninth, check whether they are sustainable and ethical by asking about their working conditions, anti-discrimination practices, breaks, and environmental procedures such as waste management. Do not be discouraged if large manufacturers turn you down because of small order volumes. Some are used to working with massive clients. There will always be manufacturers who are open to smaller businesses. Once you receive 3 or more quotes, compare them carefully. Do not simply choose the lowest or the highest. The most reliable option often falls in the middle. When you select a manufacturer, explain your design requirements clearly. Confirm whether they can produce exactly what you need. Share sketches, written details, and reference images. If your design requires advanced work, consider hiring professionals from platforms like Fiverr or Upwork. Look for freelancers who specialize in industrial design, product development, or CAD. For packaging, a local 3-dimensional print shop can help you create prototypes before moving to mass production. Before making a large order, always request samples. Test them thoroughly. Keep 2 samples for yourself and send 2 back to the manufacturer. These serve as reference points for quality. If future batches differ, you will have proof. If a shipment arrives with minor flaws, you can use a product approval waiver. This document records the defect but allows the order to continue under the agreement that future batches will correct the problem. This prevents issues from repeating over time. Between approving samples and placing your first big order, negotiate the terms carefully, put everything in writing, aim for fairness, and focus on building a long-term partnership that benefits both sides. When you place your order, start with 100% quality inspections. This means every unit is checked. After you build trust over time, usually about a year, you can reduce inspections to random sampling. However, if you ever receive a batch with too many defects, return it immediately. Finally, remember that mistakes will happen. Do not let them discourage you. What matters is that you stay motivated, enjoy the process, and make the most of the opportunity to create something meaningful. As long as you keep learning and adapting, success will follow naturally. If you had a good time watching, go ahead and drop a comment, share it with your friends, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button so you're first in line for all the exciting videos coming up.